Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to another edition of Restoring Dignity with C2C. This is why we exist. This is why I left my job. This is what I knew I was called to do. And every time I get another opportunity to share what it feels like to be a part of something much greater than yourself, every time I get an opportunity to encourage you to pursue your purpose, pursue your calling, heed the call that is on your life, I'm going to take that opportunity. So I'm back here today to do it again and again. I am Coach MarieYolaine, and I do a couple things, but the things that I love the most involve service, involve uplifting people, involve making sure that folks become the people that God created them to be. It's my jam. It's the thing I love the most. So today on Restoring Dignity with C2C, I'm going to tell you the story of the school. There are multiple initiatives in the C2C Haiti Restoration and Transformation Project, and the school is one of them. I would say each of our initiatives has a story, and it's going to be my honor to tell you all of them. So before I do that, I want to show you what development with dignity looks like. Take a look.
Community to Community's vision is development with dignity. No shame, no pity. We amplify dignity and progress led by the people of Petit-Goâve. In a world too often defined by headlines, something incredible is happening. Communities here don't just survive, they are working hard to thrive. Community to Community is working with the people of Petit-Goâve to restore vital resources. A much-needed canal is built one hand at a time. Roads are carved into a mountain with simple tools, bringing safe passage to their children and elders. This is development with dignity. And while access to continuous healthcare is saving lives, trees planted today will nourish future generations. Each person is building, planting, and teaching. We are not the heroes. You are. The person willing to support this movement and say, yes, I want to be a restorer of dignity. Join Community to Community.
I love the part where it says, we are not the heroes in this story. You are. And it's true. This work is not for an individual. This work is not for somebody who's like, I'm going to do it all myself. Yeah, your feelings will get hurt. Big time. This is it takes a village to raise a village. This is Meampil Shai Palu, as we say on Haiti. Many hands make the load lighter. And those hands are you, whether you are a C2C Neighbor Monthly donor, whether that you've given for the first time, whether you've been watching and praying for us, whether you have come to an event, whether you have helped us pack supplies, whatever that you have done has made you the hero in this now 15-year story since 2010 of restoring dignity and creating self-sufficient communities by working with the community. So I'm excited today to share with you the story of the school. But first, I would like to talk about the third annual Gérard and Ghislaine Euseb Golf Classic. So this year, we had an amazing golf classic. Again, it seems to keep getting better every year. And I'm not saying that to toot my own horn. It literally is the truth, right? So this year, there was an amazing story of how everything came together because God protects babies and fools. And there were so many things going on that we were not even sure how everything was going to come together, but come together it did. And we actually, 72 hours before, we had 24 golfers and we needed 48. By Thursday morning, sorry, September 18th, Thursday morning, we had 52. So that's the God math. We like it. And again, shout out to the New York birdies who showed up like, up in the building for sure, and brought all their energy and all their commitment and just raised the level of fun for that day. So we shout them out and we thank them. So when we started this, our original goal was to raise $45,000 towards helping the Mountainside Partner Community to start construction on the Health and Wellness Center, right? This Health and Wellness Center is going to serve 1,200 families, and this was a main focus for us. So come to find out, on the 19th, we actually had $46,000, right? And so I was like, you know what? I'm going to make a management decision here. We're going to raise it to $50,000. So we put it out there to the universe, and we put it out there to our supporters and everyone else who's been following us on social media, and it just kept going up. So as of today, I don't have the full total for you, right? Because people are still giving. We like that too. The God math be mapping. So it is our hope and our prayer that we will surpass that as well, and that next week I'll be able to come and tell you the full total. The best part of this is that in December, this community on this mountain is going to break ground and start to build this center. And that is the best thing I can say that is happening right now in 2025. So, and you're a part of that. So everybody who gave, who prayed, who came to the event, who came to the classic, who continues to support us, we appreciate you. We want you to know that your giving is reaching people across the ocean and making generational impact. We look to the day when we can all buy Haitian food, which you know I love. So there's that. All right. Okay. So again, thank you. And I look forward to giving you the update next week and all the other wonderful things that are happening around that. So it's the first Tuesday of the month. So this is our monthly update. And we just basically want to tell you what's going on with the project and where your money is going to, where your philanthropic investment is going to, right? So today I want to tell you about the story of the school. And the school has played an important part in a lot of people's lives. You remember a couple of weeks ago, I was sharing with you about Clotilde, right? So Clotilde is one of the young people that we met. There she is. I'm going to say that she might have been 10 or 12 in this picture that we met when we first started in 2010. There was a group of kids that just followed us everywhere we went, right? And we kind of deputized them in being C2C team members, honestly. But this young woman, we could already tell from the first time we met her that she had her thoughts together, that she was determined, she had a plan. The kids loved her. She was a natural born leader. She would resolve conflict. It was amazing. So I'm excited that in this month of October, because school starts October 7th, that I will be interviewing her this month to talk about what has the education initiative and our partnership with APHD done for her since 2010, because now she's 22, y'all. I don't even know where that time went, but that's what she is. So I'm excited for that. So, but it wasn't always this way. In 2010, when we met the community, there was no school on this mountain. The government didn't even know this community was up there. But 4 young men who were part of the stakeholder association, the community association, who had the opportunity to go into town and go to school and go to Port-au-Prince and go to school, decided they were going to come back up this mountain and that they were going to build a school, and that school would serve all of the children on this mountain. The name of the school is the Saül Louis Community School. The reason that it's named that is because Saül Louis was one of the itinerant farmers on the mountain, and he himself could not read nor write, but he was very passionate about making sure that each of these kids got an education. It was a rough start. When we met them right after the earthquake, the children were literally going to school under the sky. The makeshift school that they had built, and I'm sure that Clotilde is in there somewhere, that they had built on the mountain was completely destroyed. And this is where we started. And there was over 300 kids from kindergarten to 9th grade. So this is where we started, y'all. And it was clear that this was a priority. From there, we built what was called a temporary school shelter, right? And that shelter was open air. You could just open, there was no doors. And we thought, okay, we're good for a little while, but we were not, because the hurricanes during hurricane season from June 1st to November 30th would come and just literally blow the rooftop, below the desks across the mountain. So this happened a lot. So we would build them, and then every 2 to 3 years, a hurricane would come through and blow it on the other side of the mountain. And then it would just be makeshift, right? So the kids would be moved, and the blackboard would be plastered up against a wall, and the kids would be in like a makeshift room in order to learn. So this was the situation. Kids in a room, the blackboard would be on the wall, and back then, folks, again, still using chalk, right? So we moved from the collapsed shelter into the temporary hub where we would sleep. So in this picture here, right behind the blackboard, even though you see those desks there, that's where the other classroom would be, but that's where C2C would sleep when we would be on the mountain. And where the kids are there, that's where the living room / dining room would be. So this was not a good situation, because again, you're talking about over 300 children. So again, as I said, this was from kindergarten to 9th grade. One of the things that we found out was that because the school only went to 6th grade, many of the kids who had aged out at 6th grade just kept coming back because it was too dangerous for them, obviously, as someone who was 11 or 12 years old or 13, to walk 2 hours down the mountain to go to school in town by themselves, right? So you got to give it to them for the tenacity of like, I'm not going to give up. I'm just going to keep coming back, and I'll have to repeat 6th grade, but I will learn. And kudos to the teachers, to whom you see here is Jean-Claude, and actually that's his wife, who is in charge of the preschoolers, right? So the preschoolers would be in here, and then there was no more room. So the desks will be outside, and then the kids would be learning outside as well. And I love this picture because you could again see their determination, that rain, sunshine, temperatures, it doesn't matter. They kept going. And it's inspiring to me. So we moved some of the kids into this area. And some of the kids were, like I said, inside of this is the room that I said where we would sleep in, but still determined, working together. and engaging in their schoolwork together, despite the fact that they were in this condition. So they broke the school day and the grades into different parts. So the kids were out, the little kids, I should say, kindergarten, were out underneath the area where we would sleep. And then the first room, where was the living room, we would have a grade in there. And then the back room where we would sleep would have another grade. And then outside would have another grade. And again, undeterred, right? So this is one of the teachers, because the building was not, the temporary school shelter was not completely destroyed. So they still salvaged it and still continue to teach. That is Professor Smith. And he's very passionate about education and very passionate about these kids, right? So this is the older kids. I'm going to say fifth, sixth. And again, some of these kids aged out, but continued to come to school. This is, as you can see, let's just keep this real. This is dangerous. At any time, any of those, I don't even know what to call them, any of those wooden planks holding up the roof could technically cave in. But this is what the teachers and the community and the students did. They literally put this together with tape and glue to hold it together in order for school to continue. And that is Professor Toma, who, again, another passionate member of the teachers, who is summarily focused on making sure that these kids learn. And I appreciate them also for staying focused on their work. But clearly, I think you can agree with me that this is not a situation that is conducive for learning, right?
Et école communautaire Saül Louis Piton Valley. Nous on en phase actuellement là côté nous gain plan pour nous.
So I'm going to translate for you. This is one of the videos that the teacher sent to us after one of the hurricanes, and how they were showing to us what the condition of this school shelter that had been destroyed was, and how they needed help, right? So after this video, we actually had a full meeting. We were in New York, and it was the teachers and it was the parents. And it was a hard conversation, you guys. It was a hard conversation, because the conversation was, what do we do? Do we build another shelter? Because this would be shelter number 4. And we hope that this year the hurricane does not blow it away. Or do we continue and say we'll do the best that we can, but we're going to save our donations, we're going to save the money in the community, and we're going to work to build a permanent structure. The parents who engage in planting during the fall, before we could even ask them what is it that they wanted to do in this situation, they all said that we prefer not to get paid for planting this fall, and please use our wages to purchase the materials that you need to build this permanent school. Imagine having to make that decision as a parent of caring for your child. And I know everybody can relate, in August is when we're all getting the pens, the pencils, the notebooks, the shoes, the clothes, the uniforms, and everything else, because we want our children to go to school and feel positive, and that they are well fed, that they got good sleep, and that they have all their books and materials ready to go to school. I don't know any parent in the world who does not want that for their child. And I know even for me as an auntie, I want that for my nieces and my nephews. These parents weren't any different. So we took a vote, and they decided that for that year, which was, it started in 2010, and every 2 to 3 years after that, all the way to 2020, was the shelters being blown halfway across the mountain. So we stopped in 2019 and 2020 to raise the funds to build a permanent school. If that wasn't enough, 2020, of course, we all know, brought the worldwide pandemic. But again, the tenacity of these people is through the roof. This community, I'm going to say, I may have gone down there thinking I was going to teach them something, but that's not what happened. They taught me about courage, about community, about family, about love, about hope, about joy, about working together, about forgiveness, about knowing that it's better to look at a situation and just be honest. Just be honest. And I'm an optimistic realist because of them, because we knew we couldn't do both. We couldn't build a shelter and build a permanent school. So as a group, C2C, the Partner Community Association, and the parents and the students agreed that if we need to take 2 steps back to go 10 steps forward, then that's what we're going to do. And thus started the construction of the Saül Louis Community School. So I want to see if I can put up one of the, yes. So notice the people that you just saw in the beginning. So they are literally creating the road for this truck to go down into the valley of the mountainside. When we walk, we usually are walking down this area. And I thank them because they're the ones who sent us all these videos. So this is 2020, 2021. Mind you, in 2021, 2019, we had unrest all over the country. In 2020 was the beginning of the COVID. 2021, the president was assassinated, and we had another earthquake. And they continued, despite all of this. And you see the people making sure that the road is passable, right? I can't wait to go back, because the fact that this road is walkable when we literally used to walk down it like mountain climbers, I am not exaggerating about that. So from there, we continued. So the truck would go up and down and bring every day sand, gravel for the cinder blocks to be created. And then we started to build the school. And by we, I mean them, right? So amazingly enough, because God is awesome, the same wages we would have paid for during harvest, these are the same folks that we're going to be planting, that now we're building their own school, right? So this was not a small feat. I remember when they purchased just the materials and none of this even existed. So kudos to them for the time that it took. And you can see the mountains behind mountains as this gentleman is walking with this bucket. So the school as it stands is the front side, and the back side that you see there, we are now building a retaining wall, because when it rains, of course, the hill itself will become muddy, right? So, and then that mud and that water will get into the school. And where those gentlemen are there on the top, underneath that is the office and the dormitories for the teachers, who prior to this would literally have to walk up the mountain 2 hours, teach, and then walk back down. Or they may stay in one of the students' homes, but literally this was not an ideal situation, right? So now this also has electricity and running water. So they continued, right? And so now the roof getting put on and the community coming together, and you see the rebar there. Mind you, I am not an engineer by any stretch of the imagination, but I've learned so many construction terms in watching this happen. And when I saw the blue, what is this called? And it's not rebar. I remember, it'll come to me. But when I saw the roof, it's galvanized steel. That's what it is. Being put on, this was amazing progress, right? And why did they choose this? Because it's breathable, one, and two, this the way that they're building it is so that when the rain falls, it goes down to the sides, number one. And number two, that rain water is caught in these, what is called dooms, giant containers that are then used for watering crops, right? So one of the things I've also learned from the community, look at those beautiful mountains, y'all. One of the things that I've learned from the community is they never waste anything. Never. Whatever that we have, they use it in one way, shape, or the other. So whether that is the rain, whether that is the sun, whether that is the moon or the stars, the water, the plants, everything, there is nothing that is left that is not just functional, but is also used for something. And I want to shout out Responsable Jean for his design of this beautiful building, as well as making sure that all of the folks are safe. So when this blue top came on and he sent me this video, I was over the moon. So excited that this was done. So as you can see, the dormitories are there to the right, and then they've completed it. And now the goal is to build up the retaining wall. And then to the left of it will actually be the cafeteria, because a lot of the kids walk from home and no breakfast. And then they're there from like 7 to 3, no lunch. And then they go home after that. Many of them fall asleep at their desks because, of course, it's hard to learn when you're hungry. It's hard to learn when your stomach is making noise, right? So this is part one of 2 parts for the work that we are doing, and for the what is the word I want to say, for the update that I'm giving you today of the story of the school. So this is all of the work that has happened so far, and it's happened in a short amount of time. Everything you just saw was literally constructed and built from January 2022 to like September 2022, right? And it shows you what happens when people work together, when people support people, community to community, right? When there's funding available, when there is expertise in the community, whether that's architects and engineers, which this community has, and when another group comes alongside them and supports them in a way that results in restoring dignity, right? You did not see me down there not lifting up bricks, not laying down rebar, not handling galvanized steel, nothing, because I'm not an engineer. I am not in construction. This is not my talent or my skill, but it's theirs. And during that time when C2C was unable to go to Haiti, that the funding from our C2C neighbors, our C2C champions, our partners, and the folks who believe in restoring dignity and creating self-sufficient communities by working with the community, this is what happens. This is what happens when people come together. It is not just change, it is transformation. So I'm excited to do part 2 of this. Well, you will see where the school is now, how it's functioning on the inside, how it's functioning, period, and also see some of our teachers who are diligently working to make sure that these children get a quality education and they have a shot. That's all that anyone asks for, is an opportunity, a chance, a shot to find out what they're called to do. What are they supposed to be doing? And these kids deserve that. They deserve an opportunity to grow up and be a teacher, a lawyer, an engineer, an architect, an agronomist, a mom, a dad, whatever it is that they set their hearts on. And that's why I'm here. I'm here to make sure that that happens. And it gives me great joy to do so. And I feel confident in saying the team members of C2C, they do too. So thank you so much for joining me today. I'm excited to share part 2 with you. And I'm excited for you to meet Clotilde later on in this month. So again, thank you for joining me on Restoring Dignity with C2C. I encourage you, I implore you, and I invite you to heed the call on your life and come join us and be a part of something much greater than yourself. Merci en pile.